This is iDesign Lab, a podcast where creativity and curiosity meet style and design. Curator of interiors, furnishings, and lifestyles. Hosted by Tiffany Woolley, an interior designer and a style enthusiast, along with her serial entrepreneur husband, Scott. iDesign Lab is your ultimate design podcast, where we explore the rich and vibrant world of design and its constant evolution in style and trends. Today on the iDesign Lab, we're diving into the art of turning good brands into unforgettable ones. Our guest, Blaire Brown, is the founder of Visionary Advantages, a boutique agency known for transforming established businesses into market leaders. With a background in fashion and a sharp eye for strategy, she helps brands finally look as powerful as they truly are and charge accordingly.
Welcome to the iDesign Lab podcast. Today in the studio we are joined by Blaire Brown, who's the visionary and the creative behind Visionary Advantages, which is a boutique operation that has relocated from New York and is now right here in South Florida. So welcome.
Thank
to the
you for
podcast.
having me. I'm really excited to be here.
And tell us about yourself, and then we'll dive into Visionary Advantages.
Sure. So I'll give you a little overview then. I've always been an entrepreneur, and so I love to celebrate other entrepreneurs with my business. I started back in the day 100 years ago. I was 16 years old. My first company
First entrepreneur at 16. I love that.
Yeah, I started it at 16. I started a handbag company. And so all the kids at school were carrying Coach and Louis Vuitton. And at 16, I can't afford that. My parents aren't about to buy it for me. And so since I knew how to sew, I started to make my own bags.
Really?
Really took off. Yeah.
You're kidding.
No, it's crazy, actually.
Where were you living at the time?
I was in Southern Maryland.
Okay.
So yeah, not exactly a vision of fashion down there, no offense, but but I decided to do it myself. And so people at school were complimenting the bags, strangers at Starbucks, because where else am I going at 16? Teachers, everybody was asking me where I was getting my bags. And so I went to my parents, I said, hey, I think this could be
I'm
something.
onto something here.
Yeah, can I borrow $300, go to Joann's fabric store and start a purse company? And they looked at each other and they looked at me and they go,
okay.
yes, absolutely. And so I went and I started that. It took off. A year later, I think I was 17 whenever the Olsen twins actually ended up.
Okay.
They recognized it on their website.
No way.
Yeah,
that had to be such like a, whoa.
Oh,
I made
I
it.
was so pumped about
I made
that.
it.
So what happened with them?
So basically, I had gone to some Teen Vogue University events in New York, and 16 or 17-year-old me went up to there was like a little workshops, and their design team was doing a workshop. And so at the end, I just went up, shook their hand, gave them my business card, told them about my business, and that was it. And then they ended up reaching out to me unexpectedly. And I mean, you can imagine how happy I was and excited. So it was unexpected, but that happened. And then I just the passion behind it never fizzled. And I thought to myself,
Where else can I take this?
Exactly. So for the rest of my life, I'm going to have a brick and mortar handbag company, and that's just what I want to do. And so I pursued it in college. I went to fashion school in New York.
Wow.
And loved that. Couldn't figure out how to scale that business on a manufacturing level. So imagine me in a dorm room,
with a sewing machine.
Yeah, sewing machine. It was funny because when I started school at Virginia Tech, I was in the fashion program there, and people would knock on my dorm room and be like, hey, I heard you have a sewing machine. Can you fix my dress for this event? Or can you fix my pants from this event? And so I was over here, had my own little sewing monopoly going on.
I was going to say alterations in the hall down the hall.
Yeah, exactly. But after tech, I realized I needed to take fashion seriously, and I went to New York and did that. But since I couldn't scale it, I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to go into corporate because that's what they tell you should want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went into corporate fashion. I did. And before that, I've lived 10 lives. I used to cover Fashion Week as a writer. The corporate side of things, I worked in fashion footwear. And so I, which by the way, loving the shoes over here. I don't know if there's a camera shot, but I worked there in marketing, branding, and PR. And so I worked on several big brands in that area, and I thought, this is really fun. I love what I'm doing, but something's always was off, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I wasn't sure what that was. So I was talking to my mom one day, who recognized what I was feeling, and she goes, I've been watching these YouTube videos about Amazon FBA businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You should look into that. And I was like, Mom, you're watching YouTube videos? You're
Yeah,
so
like, whoa.
cool. Like, you're so hip.
You're so in it.
It's so funny. And so I looked into it. And since I have a background in product development, working with manufacturers overseas, and that's what Amazon FBA is for anybody who doesn't know.
Right.
You basically have to be the middleman with the factories. And then once they get it into Amazon's warehouses, they pack, pick, ship, customer service for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I called her back and I said, you know what? I think we can. I think we can. So I said, do you want to partner with me on this? And so my mom and I partnered on it for 2 years while I was in corporate. And so I had the fashion job. I was doing that. I was even bartending on the side. New York is wild.
You're very driven.
Yeah. We sold out of the product in 2 years, but it wasn't as profitable as we'd want it to be. It's a really tough business to do on Amazon.
So you're strictly just on Amazon sales.
Yeah, exactly, for
Okay.
that business.
Right.
And so,
Amazon takes too much.
yeah, and plus your first competitor once you're an Amazon product.
Yeah.
Is
Amazon.
Amazon. Exactly.
Right.
So that's a really tough one to compete
agree.
against.
I mean, and I
Did they
could go
try to
on
knock
for
you off?
days.
Yes. And
Yeah,
that's the
'cause they
thing.
do
I'm
that.
like, are you kidding me?
I could go on for days about that. I almost feel guilty buying anything that's like that because I feel like there is a young creator or just a creator that's passionate and like we can't do that.
Exactly. And somebody trying to make it, right? Like they're like, okay, this is a
Right.
great avenue. I can have my own business, be an entrepreneur. And then it's like, competing against Amazon. That's a slippery slope. But I'm really grateful for that experience because it really is what it gave me the aha moment that, you know what, if I have this much joy selling unicorn party supplies on Amazon, it's not the party supplies, not unicorns. It's
the
having a business.
process and
What goes into that. And
Yes.
so that's really what prompted me to start Visionary Advantages is I made that decision then and there. You know what? I'm going to leave corporate. I'm going to take a chance on myself. Where that ends up, we'll find out. But I'm going to go for it. And so.
And you started that in
for
New
it.
York City?
Yes. I started as a marketing consultant there. And it ended up snowballing and almost accidentally becoming an agency. I was meeting with all these, and this is when I had quit the corporate job. I was meeting with all these smart business owners. They're crushing it at whatever they're doing. They're established. But essentially, they'd be talking to me and they'd be like, I'm doing all these great things. Don't look at my website.
Right.
It's scary.
Isn't that the truth?
I'm overwhelmed by all these marketing things I need. I need SEO. I need social media. I need a website. I need a brand. But every agency silos those specialties. So you have an SEO agency. So all these people separate. But you're a business that really does need all of them to work together for you to get momentum.
I agree.
That's a lot.
And a lot of people just don't even know where to begin. So
No.
you don't.
Exactly.
And it's not broken, so why are we going to fix it?
100%.
And I do think that some of the bigger agencies too kind of lose the identity and the cohesiveness of the operator or the owner or the designer of the brand when you could work with a boutique visionary.
So you're hearing all of this and you decide, I'm going to start a company that's going to help companies.
Exactly. I'm like, let's fix this.
So
because
saw a
this is
need.
a common thread.
So you start
saw
your
the
own
need.
agency.
Yes. It's like I said, it kind of accidentally happened.
Who's your first client? What's the first thing you're doing?
Oh gosh, my first client was actually surprising, footwear. So we started work as a
Full
consultant.
circle.
Yeah, because a friend of mine I had worked with, she's like, they could really use marketing help, and so I helped them out with their marketing as a consultant. And then since then, we've built websites and full brands for hotels. We work with airlines. We work with CPG brands. So we'll work with like Bug Spray,
Wow, just
business
random.
coaches. It is random. And, they tell you to niche it down, like really fine line for that. But honestly, at the end of the day, businesses have the same
needs,
right? They are
You're
doing
fulfilling
great.
that.
Where's that team that they can hire and lean on? Because you don't just need a marketing person. You need a team of people that can work together.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really crossing different wires between multiple agencies, and your strategy ends up becoming much stronger if you're working together. So I have a team of people that works together to make it a bigger impact for the brands that we work with.
So at what moment did you realize that you could strategize for these brands and bring it home? Like, when did you realize that you had the vision to fulfill this need?
I think it was just over time. I can't say it was just one day, but I think over time, okay, this company really needs help with their website. But if we're building their website, it's like cooking a meal. You need to have all the ingredients to make that meal happen. Well, you need the branding elements too.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need a new website, but if you have zero branding, how are you going to build that?
So you're recreating the logos and
Yeah.
The creative.
Oftentimes that's where we start. So usually people will come to me, with this brand that they've probably DIY'd for a while, and they're ready to graduate. And they're like, okay, and I support people DIYing it at first. If you're a new startup, do that and, build the business, because you might change it a few more times before you should then invest in your branding and website and everything else, because you don't want to change it in 6 months. You want to make sure like, okay, this is my offer. This is really sticking with my audience and people I'm talking to. We know we're going to do a great job at it. This is the direction we want to go in. That's when you should be like, okay, let's get serious about my brand and everything else.
So do you start with like a mission statement or
what are the steps when you're redesigning a company and a brand? So you get a new client.
Mm-hmm.
What's those first steps that you're...
Sure. So that's a good question. So the first steps is usually they're like, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. So what are the first steps? We go through a process of, talking through the pain points. What have you tried? What hasn't worked? And we'll talk about that. But then I'll also do an audit on their website or basically their whole web presence. Because for me, I find your business is going to be more successful if you have all the touch points working together, right? So you want to have the website, you want to have the logo, you want to have social media channels matching those touch points.
When you say matching, like the same names or...
That's one thing, because sometimes people have 10 names for their business. I had one brand come to me, and I love them. They had, I'm not joking, 34 different logos. And I was like, if you just take one thing away from me, is please don't use the 34 logos. We came in, and they're like, we don't know why people are so confused about us and our name. Well, I'll tell you why.
34
I literally
logos.
had it on the PowerPoint showing like, this is 34 slides. So we went in and revamped it. We redesigned their logo. We have rules around it. You're not stuck with one logo whenever you work with us. You have a stacked version, horizontal, a logo mark, because you want to have it be flexible so you can use it
Change it at color times or holiday times or just cross-marketing ways of...
Exactly. So really it's, okay, where are they at now? What are their rules for me? Because they might say, well, we're a heritage brand. We have to keep these colors. Sure, we respect that. If I think it's a bad color or something, I'll be honest. But
this isn't
but we
helping
respect
you.
their brand and their company. But typically, we can give that logo a modernization. We can either update it or do an overhaul. We create comprehensive brand guides, so everything from that logo, the correct color palette. So
how to use the logo.
How not to use it.
Right.
That's also important because, again, somebody's going to butcher it and make 34 different ones, like stretch it out, put weird colors on it. We don't want that. And then from the branding standpoint, once we finish that, then we evolve into the website and the social media. We put guidelines on both of those. How are you positioning yourself as a brand? Who are you targeting? So all of it comes together because you want it to work and complement each other and essentially make you look great. So then you can start closing deals faster and easier. You don't want to look like you're DIYing
So
it.
do you give them the roadmap, or are you supplying the actual people? Like, this person's going to be in charge of your social media, this, and your team, or do you create a team that is staying with that brand for the long haul? Because another thing, I feel like when people are branding and they get stagnant, you just kind of, you don't give it a long enough shot.
Right.
Like, what time frame does it even take to get to that
It's a really good question.
next level?
Yeah, so we have a whole team behind the scenes that can effectively, we work together on whatever project that is to maintain it, because you're right, you don't want to have, you created this beautiful presence and then you just let it sit there and collect dust. The thing is about marketing is you always need to be marketing.
You can't stop.
You can't. And I think that's a common misconception is people think, oh, well, if I just put this out there, I'm done. And then everybody's going to fly to my website.
No, the whole engagement became a thing now too. Like, what's your engagement? I just...
Yeah. How are you communicating it? It brings this whole customer service element to things. And then again, are you more likely to do business with somebody who hasn't updated their social in like 2 years and their website's collecting dust and it's like, are they even in business? I don't really know.
Yeah.
Are they? Or
some
some people come to me and they'll say, well, I get a lot of business from referrals. Are they actually sending referrals your direction? Because frankly, if it's a bad website, I'm probably not sending that to my friends or colleagues because I'm like, I don't know if they're going to do a good job. So it's like a big concern that people should realize, like, what you look like online matters, and you got to keep it fresh so that way people are trusting you. It's really the biggest thing is a trust factor. If you're going to be putting this much energy into your brand, how are you going to effectively do the services for my brand, my company, wherever you're hiring them?
So you have a team behind you. When you started the business,
yes,
it's you.
Yeah.
Did you immediately go out and hire people to assist you on, or how did you designing and developing a business in itself is a task?
It is a journey.
That's a good way to put it.
It is a journey.
Because you're redesigning websites, you're redesigning logos, all the different things you're doing. It takes a lot of talented people to do that. And how do you know you got in the early days that you have the right people? Did you have like friends or people you knew you could reach out to?
I interviewed people. I mean, at the very beginning, it was just me. And I was consulting. I knew a lot of people where I could direct, the brands I'm working with, like, you could speak to this person, you could speak to that person for wherever their expertise was. And at the beginning, it wasn't websites necessarily. But then once it did turn into websites, it was like, okay.
What was it in the beginning?
It was the footwear company. So that's where they needed help on things like styling and coming up with photo shoot ideas. And so I'm not a photographer, and I'm not going to act like I am. But I have an eye. I can help them with the branding, and I can help them with the game plan of what they needed to do next strategy-wise. And then when it did come to websites, I did hire people to help me, and I just have to interview them and, vet them out to make sure that they had the portfolio that was living up to expectations and standards. And then it's just evolved over time, because then you realize you learn a lot whenever you're building this out, right? You realize a web developer is not the same skill set as a web designer.
Correct.
They're completely different.
Totally.
So I'm never going to hire a developer and expect them to design. It's just not the same strength.
Correct.
And vice versa. And same with, the designer's probably not a copywriter either. So you need a proper person to do that. And what I find crazy is oftentimes website companies will expect the entrepreneur to write their own website. They're like, oh, well, we can design and develop, but you need to provide the copy. And I've never met somebody who has the time to do that.
Right.
Ever.
And I agree with you when you say that. Like, I need to hire the right team and know that they're going to tell me, show up here, sit here, call this, I need the roadmap.
Yeah. And again, like, even if they did have the time to write their website, is it going to be that good? Probably not if they're not a marketing person or a copywriter. And that's very rare. So
what size companies do you deal with? Are they Fortune 500? Are they small, like, small owner operator?
This is going to be a big range, guys. We work with mostly companies under 200 employees.
Okay.
Because usually they don't have a marketing team, or if they do, that's when they're like, okay, we need like a team to come in and SWAT team this brand for us. But we even work with solopreneurs sometimes. So really it varies. I mean, you know, like I said, airline manufacturing, we do projects for that. We work with hotels, but then we'll work with business coaches. And we can make small companies look big, and that definitely helps them leverage their offers and, you know, charge more because they have the quality that's coming out. But if somebody thinks that they're a teeny tiny business, they're probably going to be like, I don't know if you can do this project. But if they look sharp, professional, and modern online, it changes the whole dialogue.
It's true. And up to date was what you said that's resonating with me, because in this fast-paced world that we live in, it is important to stay relevant and up to date. One thing we talk about a lot on the podcast or try to bring up is that all of us are our own walking brand.
Oh,
you know, our online platform or our footprint is itself a brand. You know, we have young daughters and we talk to them all the time. Like, this isn't going anywhere. It's going to probably evolve even bigger eventually. So creating a brand that you're proud of for the long haul, just being yourself, is important. For so long, I always, you know, we were trained like, oh, you start at the website. But I now feel like it could be all over. Like, you can start on Instagram. You can start on TikTok. If you have a shop to sell, like, you know, there's so many avenues. How do you narrow down where's the best place to really begin?
There are so many avenues.
Or home in on, like, what is one more important than another for depending upon the business?
It depends on the business.
So it does. You really have to like understand where your business that you're promoting.
What's going to help them move their business forward faster, and what's more important to them? Who are they talking to? What's the goal? As long as you can pinpoint that, and then also their offer, I would take it from there. Because I worked with a brand recently who just launched her coaching business, and she's fabulous. I love her.
Coaching business.
Yeah, business or executive coaching. So what I love about...
Does she do like for companies or big seminars or?
Individuals. So basically, let's say you're leaving. It's similar to the fashion industry, like what I did, right? I jumped out of fashion, and then I started my own company, and then, you know, there's a lot of life pivots there. And
there really is.
So much.
More than ever.
And she herself has gone through that as well. She was like working for luxury brands. She moved to Austin and all of this, like huge, she got married, had kids,
life changes.
All these things. Yeah, really life-changing, but all really positive and amazing. And the fact she was able to juggle that successfully is huge. So she's helping people with that, like people who are considering the jump. What do you do? What are the next steps? It's overwhelming. Like, how do I pivot in a way that feels good to me? And so she helps people in that way. But someone like that who just started their business, she DIY'd her website, which looks great. And I was like, you know, I think the best next step for you, where you're at in this stage, is to do it on social media. You know, that's how can you get that messaging out there, get people to understand what you do, and just build and grow on that. So that's something different for her. But other businesses I usually work with, that's kind of like a unique scenario. Most of the time, if they are established, they've been around for a few years. Sometimes it's 2 years. Sometimes it's 25. Where they need to usually focus on is their website. I mean, that's usually the first thing people let go. But then I ask them, okay, where are you getting your leads? Are you running ads online already? And if you are, and your web presence looks scary, it's You're like not. Setting money on fire. You don't want to do that, you know? Do you have experience in that? You're laughing.
So. It sounds a little familiar.
Yeah, it's so common. I mean, people will come to me and they'll be like, how can I sell 100 units on Google tomorrow if I start ads? And I'm like, first off, if anyone tells you you can do that within a day, you need to run. The second, let's let's diagnose your presence real quick.
Yeah, I
and
was going
look
to
at
say
how
putting the cart before the
Do
horse
you try to
thing.
specialize in certain industries? Like you came from fashion. Do you try to focus on just fashion, or do you work with all sorts of businesses?
Well, that's
like you're working with someone who's coaching. That's a unique industry.
Yeah. So what's funny is I thought I would be working with only fashion brands. I am not. We work with asphalt maintenance.
Oh,
We
wow.
work with manufacturing. Honestly, I really love working in the manufacturing space because they have the ability to create so much, and we can come in with the creativity and help them with that. So really, manufacturing is great. We love the travel and hospitality industry. Anything that creates an experience, we can really build that out for you. So we love working in that space. We work with CPG brands. So we do a little bit of packaging, and we'll help with product design. That's something that's not really marketing, product design, but we can help with it. But yeah, bringing that experience and that feeling online is something we really specialize in. And we're really good at pulling the personality out of that person and making that the brand. So I love when you said, everybody's their own brand these days. I find, especially in the world that we live in with AI,
I know.
You've got to have that personal touch to it, because that's what's going to make a difference. Because you can easily press a button, make a website, but you can see that website from miles away that it's AI, and it just isn't going to land and resonate with your audience. People are going to see it. They're not going to trust it. How can you build trust through your personal brand or what you're building?
And doesn't a website, for the most part, is a constant maintenance? I mean, it's like anything. It needs to be continuously updated and uploaded just to create engagement, I guess.
SEO, it's huge. Oftentimes, my clients will come to me and they'll say, I need SEO, but what does it mean again?
Yeah. Search engine optimization.
Nailed it.
But I still don't know what it means. So maybe tell us a little bit about
it.
it.
So you're doing a lot of SEO.
We do that too. Yeah. So part of the web maintenance piece, that's a really good point, is that you do need to keep it up. One, there's all the technical, exciting stuff behind the scenes, right, to keep up. But SEO is really important. And now with AI, there's a way that you can get your business found on AI search engines. So how can you do that? Let's make your website best friends with Google, right? And all the search engines. That's
so you're working with like keywords and helping businesses get targeted to their area.
We do keyword research. We do a lot of content optimization for SEO purposes. So one thing that we like to do if we're creating social media content, for example, we like to incorporate SEO keywords in that. Like, how can we keep this fresh? So
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. So just the searchability factor of it, you got to be found, because again, there's millions of websites. It's not just going to be found out of nowhere. You got to keep it fresh. Blogging helps with that. Again, with that keyword research strategy that you put into place. So we'll help our clients come up with a strategy, and then we'll come up with a content calendar, and then we make sure that the blogs align, your social media content aligns, and as they get newsy things going on and the excitement around their business, how can we tell people about it?
Let's
true. Make that relevant.
So when a new client comes to you, are you typically in the running for it? Meaning business reaches out to you, we're looking for all your services. Can you put us together a proposal? But they're also then, that same company has two other companies doing the same thing. Are you kind of competing for that business or trying to fight for that business typically?
Well, that's funny. That's a funny way to put it.
So your pitch has got to win it before another agency.
I guess, but you know what? I'm just so honest, and I'm just very much myself, because that's why I want to work with somebody who can see what they're getting. They appreciate it. And I'll show them the work that we've done, and that speaks on its own. We've done some incredible transformation stories. If I show you guys some before and afters at some point, you're going to be like, oh my God, that's insane how much it's changed. So I walk them through before and afters to show them the success, because oftentimes marketing agencies get a reputation. So I want to show them, like, this is real. We can do this for you, but in your own way. We don't use templates. But then we have a structured process on how we do these deliverables. So when you mentioned proposal, usually that's not needed, because usually if they're coming to me for this help,
You're the one
they
that,
kind of know they need it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Then they
they've
see
done
the
some-
transformations and they're like, okay, I really do need this. And then it's just a matter of, do they want to work with that other person or us? It's just, we have it so well structured that at that point, it's just, where are they at in their business?
So I have to ask, you started this all in New York
Mm-hmm.
being like kind of the marketing capital
The
of the
Mad
world.
Men era.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
always look at it. But you're living in South Florida now, and
Mhm.
you're running the business out of this. How did you end up in South Florida?
The pandemic.
The pandemic.
2020.
Like everyone else, yeah. I moved here, when the pandemic hit New York, I moved out, and then I ended up moving down here because my brother, his wife, and kids all live down here. And so I'm like, you know what? Sunshine and family. Let's give South Florida a shot. And so now I live 5 minutes away from them, and it's awesome. I get to hang out with my niece and nephew, and I love it down here. It's been a really good move for me. So I'm really grateful for South Florida.
Did it make a difficult transition for the business to be down here? Or
No,
just
it's
could be-
fantastic.
Yeah, I would
Because-
think a lot of people transition down here around the same time too.
Exactly. And that's what's funny is I'll meet people all the time and they're like, oh, where'd you move here from? I'll be like everyone else, New York. And they go, oh yeah, everybody moved here from New York. And I really like it though, because New York has that entrepreneurial drive
Mhm.
and passion for whatever they're working
And it's
on.
busy. It's a busy city.
Always. And-
Literally, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what I loved about New York the most. Then I moved here and I was worried that they wouldn't have that. And then
The
I'm like,
drive would be
wait,
the same. The
everybody
pace.
here is like that. And now that all the New York restaurants are opening here too, I'm
Yeah.
like 10 out of 10. I'm not leaving. So it's been great, but it's a good place to own a business too, And I think people are just so friendly and open to networking and collaborating on projects. I think it just makes it that much more exciting. But we do work with businesses all over. From Hawaii, we work all over the country.
So is everything happening
London.
on Zoom for the most part?
Yep. Yeah, most of my clients will just work together on Zoom. I have some clients where I'll help them with presentations and trade shows. And so I'll fly out to help them at those events. But other than that, we're mostly digital, so we can help from anywhere.
That's wild to me. I'm like still need my little bullet point lists and everything. I'm a little old school that way.
I got some Post-its on my desk, don't worry. But no, I love that it's digital because then you meet people in different areas and different personalities, and that spices things up a little bit.
It's true. It's true.
So the typical business owner comes to you,
Mhm.
they realize they need help. They need
Mhm.
changes.
Yes.
You're presenting those new changes.
Mhm.
How many of them have
Actually do it.
have a hard time grasping?
Mhm.
You want to change my baby. That's a logo that I've had. That's my website.
It's a tough conversation. I've had a brand change their name before, but their name was confusing, and I was like,
You're asking a lot for not.
hear me out. I think people are confused by your name, and then usually if it's something like that, they'll be like, you're right. I do get asked that a lot. Like they ask me all the time, what does it mean?
So
And
they're
I'm like,
answering their own questions.
yeah. I'll be like, I know it's tough. It is your baby, but consider it. And then we'll have a fun session. We'll just throw some ideas around. What could it be? What could the vision be? Right.
But if you had situations where the owner or the ownership group is like, no, we don't want to do that. We want to stick to what we have. And you're realizing they're making the wrong decision.
I feel like you have to push back a couple times.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then if
Do
they
you want
really
help
don't
or
want
not?
to, at the end of the day, it is their brand. I know that I at least voiced the truth behind it or what I professionally think for their brand, but I have to respect them at the end of the day. It's their baby. So if they don't want to move forward with, let's say it's a name change or a logo change, that's fine. I mean, we worked recently with a brand that's been around for over 50 years.
Mhm.
And they're like, we're a heritage brand. People know us. We've been around for over 50 years. We really don't want to change the logo or our colors. Maybe add some accent colors. We'd be open to that. I'm like, all right, you give me an inch,
Yeah, you'll take a mile.
I can do that. But we still were able to transform it, even with their old logo, and their transformation was wild. We went from, preserving that, right?
Mhm.
But we still brought it to today because you can still modernize it through graphics, the accent colors, making their website look like it's, it was from the Stone Age, to be honest. And now it's like, has video, it has fresh graphics that we made only for them, and we made really cool icons, and we really are speaking to today's consumer, because it's not just about design, but it is about design, but how do we also position your brand? How do we speak to your audience? What's going to hit them in the heartstrings to make them realize they need to hire you? So all of those things come together, and we can work with an old logo.
So through your research, how quickly does somebody actually judge a brand online? Like, so they do hear of you, or you get a referral and they check a website. I mean, how quickly are people really that turned off? Or is it more like what they see they don't like? Or is it more like how dated it is that they don't like? What are you finding that's the quick turn off?
I'd say it's both. I mean, it could be a combination of things. But I'd say like within, I think, 3 seconds now that you have of our attention span.
That's crazy.
Somebody lands on a website. If it's broken, they're out.
Yeah.
If they're confused before they even scroll past that first section of the website, they're out. How can we get them to keep scrolling? How can we have that messaging right when they land on your site or social media? How can we have that really resonate with somebody and make them be like, oh, wait, I think I need this, or let me keep scrolling. It's immediate, but I'd say that the confusion is huge. Modernization is also important, because you don't want to invest in a company that's been around for a long time, but it doesn't look like it looks like, oh, you've stuck in the 80s or whatever year it is. They want to work with somebody who's cool and fresh and forward thinking, because as a business owner, you only want to push forward, right? You're always thinking about what's next. And so if you as a business owner can trust that that company is going to remove that stress from your life by you hiring them, you're going to close that deal and get that client, versus somebody who's like, yeah, I don't know, my friend Sally said that they're okay, but I don't know, like, I just really hope so. That's not the relationship you want to join in. And then Sally's like, wait, I have been doing these awesome things. You just don't see it. So how can we make it easier for you as a business owner to show people like how great you are?
So for someone who's listening to this podcast right now, they're driving in their car or wherever it might be listening, and they own a business, and they're realizing, I've got some situations, I think, with my business. Are there any kind of 1, 2, 3 steps or questions they should be asking themselves to help them decide that they should pick up the phone and call you?
And rebrand.
Yeah. Or are there, is there, like, for anyone listening, like, look at your brand 1, 2, 3. If any of these 3 things are happening,
well,
what are typically those things that are trigger points?
Yeah. Well, pull over your car and call me, please. No, but seriously, honestly, think to yourself, are people confused by your brand? And if they are, or your team knows, and they may have been nudging you, and maybe you're resistant to
So when you say
updating.
confused by the brands, they're asking questions about it online, or?
Yeah, maybe they're just like, I just don't really know what you're offering. I just don't really get it.
Right.
Or like, who do you work with? All these questions that might have a big question mark. Also, if ever at any point you've been like, oh gosh, I'm so embarrassed by my website, please don't go look at it.
Yeah,
I'm working on it, or I'm going to get to it.
That's
a
your
trigger
sign.
Point.
Yes. Okay.
I know.
This
And
is
I
your
feel like
sign.
I've said all that way too many times, unfortunately.
It's common. I mean, most people do. But it gets to a point, when are you going to pull the trigger to, make moves on that? Because it does make a difference.
Yeah, because I am so proud of my work, and I'm so proud of the relationships we've built as a business. But I'm the same. I wouldn't send somebody to my website.
Yeah. And the thing is
as social media, even I always say, like, you can't teach I don't even know how to do a reel.
Podcast. I know you can figure it out.
That's what we're we're on the journey for right now.
She's too busy. That's why she doesn't want to do it.
And that's where everybody comes to me, is they say, I'm too busy. I'm overwhelmed. I don't even know where to start. And we can come and take that off of your plate, because we have the team that's going to execute it for you. The biggest thing we have to do is just have that meeting, learn about what are your goals, where are you at, where are their pain points, and then we'll go in and we'll remove them for you. But yeah, the pulling over of your car, definitely, if your website's embarrassing, to get that it's time, or you have DIY'd your site or digital presence in general, like it could be social media too, or your logo.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're doing great things, maybe.
I know, and I feel like listening to you, it's like, we're also mindful of staying on course for health, wellness. Like, why wouldn't we want to take care of our digital footprint that represents us? I mean, which is such a huge part of your business existence, which kind of affects everything else. Like it all goes hand in hand.
It does. And
well, I relate a website or even the social media these days is it's your baby. Your baby, it's your baby as your business. And it's like if you relate it to a baby, if you're not taking care of feeding the baby every day,
you got a problem.
Changing the diapers
police
every
are going to be at your door.
well, you're going to have an unhealthy baby.
Yeah.
And you don't want an unhealthy baby. So it's the same with the business. You should be giving that same kind of nurturing and care to those different elements that are going to help grow your business.
Exactly.
And be able to spend more money to take care of your real baby.
Exactly.
Yeah. You got to feed them too.
It all goes hand in hand.
Kind of important. Yeah. And that's the thing is people oftentimes are like, like, I don't have the time. I'm overwhelmed. And, you do need to maintain it. But that's the thing is my company will go in and we'll help maintain it for you. We keep it fresh. We're always thinking about how we can keep the momentum going because you don't want to have a launch and then you're almost like moonwalking away, right? Like, okay,
exit
bye.
strategy. There isn't one, right?
No, you got to keep it up.
You do have to keep it up. I mean, it's literally like going to the gym. I mean, you really do. And I realized too, just being a business owner, like you do get, things are moving. People do want to be on the podcast. Things are coming to us that we're not making these healthy shifts to grow. And as the big word around is scaling, to scale the business. Let's do it, What do you think about as your greatest before and after? And is it just conceptual or is it numbers, like views, or like where does that sweet spot?
So I wish I could show you on a screen right now. So we'll have to sidebar
Give us
that one.
A little presentation.
So we actually worked with a outdoors brand recently, and we're still working with them.
Okay.
But they approached me last summer.
Outdoor furniture, like, do they curate the garden? Are they like landscaping or hardscaping?
Quite the opposite.
Oh my gosh. See,
So they're a CPG brand, so consumer packaged goods. So basically they do everything from anti-itch soap. So if you get poison ivy, they need it. And this is what's so funny. And I always tell them this. I'm always laughing. I'm like, you know what? Coming from the fashion background, I never thought I'd be so excited talking about bug spray. But I really am. It's so much fun because I think if it's not on paper the sexiest of brands, those are the most fun to work with.
You give a little challenge. Yeah.
Because you can really bring it to life in a different way that nobody expected. And so I'm like, okay, how can we make this more like a skincare brand?
Oh, true.
And, we're going to target women
Sunbum
Yeah, let's target women in their 30s and 40s because, frankly, that's who's buying this. In fact, I even used my sister as a case study when they interviewed me. And that's what's kind of funny because I'm like, I know who this is for.
Yep.
My sister. She's 31. She has a baby. She's looking at all the labels. And this is a natural ingredient brand. And I was like, this is who you need to target because she's the one buying for their house. And they were like, they took it all in. They're like, okay, great. We love this. And then, and where their site status was before was that they've been around for 25 plus years. Big box retailers were saying, we need you to look like today's modern customer. And that was the biggest flag, like we got to make some changes. And so they came to us. I told them about my sister and what I believed would be
the target
for their branding. And I wasn't sure how it was going to land. And then less than a week later, they contacted me and they're like, you're right, let's do this together. And so we started with the portfolio logo and all the brand as a collective. And then we revamped that logo, and it's so cool because we also positioned it so before they were really talking about like mountain climbing activities, really hardcore outdoor events. And they're like, we really need to position this for the everyday person.
Yeah.
Backyard barbecues,
Yeah.
kids soccer games.
Totally.
Make it an everyday
Keep it
thing.
in your car.
Yeah, you could still climb a mountain and use it. It's great. And I told them, I said, I bought some bug spray bottles. I walked around the street that I'm always eaten alive on. And guess what, guys? No bug bites. And so we were laughing about that. But we transformed their website. We repositioned the messaging on it so it does target that audience. It looks really cool, like a skincare brand. And then we redesigned all the packaging and did the 3D renderings.
So how long does that process take?
Brace yourself. 3 months.
Okay.
So most web
is that typical?
For us. It is not typical for any design agency. Usually it takes like a promised 6 months. It's a painful 11. So with us, I have it structured since we have all the team members in-house. We can work together as a team. We have the systems in place, all the review sessions, and get it launched within 90 days. So that's what we did with them, and it was a success. And you guys should look up allterrainco.com. That's the website that we transformed for bug spray and beyond. So we're still working on other projects with them, and so it's been really fun to see.
Are they in retail?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you can buy them at all the stores and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And that was new packaging and everything?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we did the packaging for Herbal Armor, which is coming out soon. It's not in stores just yet, the new packaging, but it's in progress right now.
And then simultaneously, are you having your team do their social media or engagement? Are you handling like influencers that they're sending product to? Are you handling all of that?
It depends on what the clients are signing on for. So some people continue on for social media, and that's always what we recommend. We did set up all their social channels, and we've written blog posts. That's part of what we always recommend any brand who launches, that if you want to keep that Google and searchability momentum, you got to keep the content fresh. So that is always what we recommend.
So you're in the business of redesigning brands. Mm-hmm. Is there a brand or a couple of brands out there that you just think really have
need some help?
No, have outrageously really done it right. Is there any that you like
that
always kind of
that
you always say like they've done it right?
Oh man, there's a lot of brands that I love. Who would I really love? You guys really didn't. You put me on the spot for this one.
Well, there's some that I'm always just amazed by. Obviously, how quickly they move through the system. I mean, obviously, like the Kardashians are so mind-blowing to me too, just how not that I respect the work ethic and how they've been able to just continually scale and how quickly it evolves, the branding of these items. It's just, to me,
I don't think it's always the greatest branding.
No, but it's the amount of it that's so mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, I mean, the constant content that they're able to crank out is wild. I'm like, it's
so
not
much sustainable.
Work. Yeah, it's not. I'm trying to think of some good examples for you guys, but
like for me, Apple has always been.
Oh yeah, Apple's great.
Just,
who was it? There's some makeup brands out there that have been really crushing it, and I'm just losing train of thought for who that is. But like even print companies like moo.com, like they do some really good print options for business. Something like business cards you wouldn't really think would be that fun to market, but they're able to do that.
Business cards, how many people really don't use them anymore?
I mean, I do.
And I do think they're coming back. I do, because people, I mean, I feel like in our industry, they do still bring them, drop them off.
I think since COVID, it's kind of like...
You know, it's interesting that you brought up Apple, because I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about Apple, like Steve Jobs transitioning to Cook. What's his name?
Tim Cook. And
now a new person coming in, how like each CEO kind of attaches themselves differently.
Yeah.
And like Tim Cook was more of like, he scaled and sustained. He wasn't necessarily the innovator.
Correct.
So, and I find that with branding too, you kind of need to recognize where that begins and ends. Like, you know what I'm saying? Is this our growth time? Is this our scaling time?
Yeah.
Is this our
when do you work on the projects behind the scenes? Another brand actually that you wouldn't really think about would be Casper. I mean, their mattresses.
Huge.
I love their advertising and branding because when I lived in New York, they had full-on subways trains were just had their illustrations everywhere. And I thought that was a fun marketing. And think about how hard that is to market because
it's a mattress.
It's a mattress, right? And it's, I feel like at least when they launched, I feel like they were direct to consumer. So how do you try it out? You know, like that's a challenge.
Right.
I think Warby Parker is another good one. They have great advertising and branding. And, you know, they really changed the game in the whole eyewear industry. And I think
they
that
changed
those are
it, I think, on how they deliver the glasses in terms of, you know, you go in and you get them 2 weeks later. I mean, this is a pair.
But for
but
like for 10 years, they were such an industry leader and it was all online.
Right.
I mean, so the fact they moved to brick and mortar, do you come to that situation often where people are mainly online presence versus brick and mortar, or is that something that you interact with often?
We get both. Honestly, it's such a mix. I mean,
You prefer one than the other?
Oh,
online or brick and mortar? And
not really, because they both come with unique needs, right? Like we work with a collection of hotels, and for them, it's going to be completely different than an airline manufacturer of what they're pitching to airlines, and we're helping with those presentations, but we're helping with getting products on planes, but then we're also helping with...
What do you mean getting products on planes?
So with airline manufacturing, I work with a company who creates all the, they can do pretty much anything solutions-wise for airlines that, like, let's say a flight attendant hands you something on the plane, like could be your food. They do the dishware for the food, the bamboo cutlery, the wipes whenever you're getting on United, all of those things that you don't really think about, but somebody has to make those. So I work with a brand like that, and it's so much fun because you don't think about that every day. Now, anytime someone sits by me on an airplane, they probably think it's my first flight ever because I'm taking pictures of everything I'm getting. And they're probably like, oh, it's her first time. No, I'm obsessed with this company. They're so much fun to work with. And they're just always coming up with solutions for airlines. And so we're pitching to flight attendants, to procurement
business.
teams.
It is an interesting business.
It's so cool. And there's a lot of different regulations, as you can imagine, with airlines that you have to think about. How is it going to stack, right? Like, is it what's the weight of this product? And there's a lot of, you know, is it going to be easy for the flight attendants to handle? What is the passenger experience going to be like? Where do they put the trash when they're done? I mean, it's everything. You don't think about this.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of businesses that most people don't think about.
The widgets.
Those little nuances that need to be.
Yeah. So that's going to have its own series of strategy and thought process and how they're targeting their audience. Then a hotel that's brand new. They're flipping new properties into very Instagrammable moments. It's all digital first. How do we build that brand? And so we helped a company build their brand from the name and to what they are now. And so that's been a lot of fun.
What is digital first?
You don't have a concierge to check in with. You can check in on your phone. That is your key and everything. And if you do need something, you can text for support and they'll come in and help you out. It's really cool. It's Hideaway Inns. You should check them out. So they have 3 locations right now in the Northeast. And it's been really cool to be a part of that because we truly started with the founder. You know, we were throwing ideas for names around. And my company is the one that came up with the branding behind it all.
That is
so is there one client or one job that you've had that you had the most amount of fun? It was so exciting and to work. Do you have one that's like at the top of the list?
Your fave.
I'm going to be honest. It's a tie between the hotel and Hideaway Inns and my airline client, RMT Global Partners. They're fantastic. I mean, I love working with both of them so much. What's fun with RMT is that we get to create really beautiful designs and concepts for them, and they can manufacture anything. And
so is it the people that you worked with that was so much fun?
Yes.
Or is it the fact maybe they gave you an enormous amount of freedom to really create? Or
to be the designer.
Both.
Both.
Honestly, I'm very fortunate. I love everyone we work with. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on a podcast.
Yeah, but you have to have some clients who are just so difficult.
But those people aren't exactly who you continue with, right? But we have fantastic people we get to work with, and both of those companies they're amazing. But with the airline company, since we help them with trade shows, we design the graphics for their booth. I just got back from a trip to Germany with them. We went together and we made sure that, the graphics were fantastic. I operate as sales support. We can help them with meetings and presentations. So that one's pretty hands-on. So on a personal level, I just love them. They're fantastic. They're like family at this point.
Oh, that's so special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you see any trends right now in marketing that people are on a bandwagon? I mean, I feel like on social media, there's constant little trends. You have to know the right song to is there trends in marketing that you're seeing?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, yes, the songs and things like that, that's very real. And I think that just depends on what kind of brand that you are. The business coaches might be able to hop on that trend, but maybe not necessarily the asphalt maintenance company we work with, it varies. But I'd say as far as marketing goes, everybody is everywhere at all times. And as a brand, that can be very intimidating.
It is intimidating.
Yeah, for trends, and people are trying to stick with one area to focus their efforts on. But I find the most successful, I don't know if this would be considered a trend though, but I think if you align all of your efforts together, almost working like an ecosystem, you're going to have more success. So if you're doing social media, maybe you have a podcast, and then you have an email list, having your content work together.
Email list
is going to, that's a huge one. Honestly, that's always my advice for anybody who's even brand new at starting a business. I always tell them, even if you're pumping the brakes on some of your projects, do me a favor and just keep a list, even if it's an Excel document.
That's amazing.
Keep it.
Good thought.
When the time is right, you'll be kicking yourself if you don't have a list. So
what about testimonials? How important is that, again, depending on what the brand is, or is that just important across the board?
Very important. I mean, the thing is you have so much noise out there. How are you going to break through that noise? And how are people going to trust you? So at the minimum, be asking people for testimonials, because that's who's going to be championing you and your work and proving to the world that you can, in fact, deliver on what you're promising. And I think that today, with there being so many influencers and industry experts in this category and in that category, do they have testimonials, or is that their team member posting that testimonial? I've actually looked into hiring some companies to work with mine before, and I was like, oh, I see this testimonial and that is their employee. Okay, red flag. So people are so smart and savvy online. They're going to creep on you everywhere that you are. It's just a part of the process. If you're investing in your company, I'm going to invest a little bit of time and research into who I might work with. And that's where you really do want your web presence to work together, because you want to have, if they are looking at your website and then they go to your LinkedIn and then they go to your Instagram, if things aren't really matching and they don't see any testimonials, they don't see proven work, even if you just have one of those things, you need to have something for social proof, because, how legit are you, And what's funny, I was laughing about this the other day. When I started my business, I was so nervous asking people for testimonials, because I was like, oh, I don't want to waste, bother them. They're really busy. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And now I'm like, hey,
I need this.
We had fun working together, right? Can you write about this? Even if it's 2 lines, it's going to help me out. And then they're always like, I'd love to help you. So I definitely recommend everybody listening, if you've done work with anyone, ask for testimonial. It takes them 2 seconds, especially with AI.
It's true. So being a brand yourself, are you constantly branding your business and keeping all of your items all up to par and all your online platform, is that something that you focus a lot on with your own brand?
Yeah, honestly, the past couple years. So you
practice what you preach.
Yeah, for a few years, I'll admit, when we first started, I was whole case of the cobbler's son doesn't wear shoes, and we're like, oh, like my site looks fine, but it's not as awesome as my clients right now. And so last year, it was a huge effort on my team's part that we're like, we're overhauling our site. We're going to look as amazing as our clients do because we need to start practicing what we preach in every avenue. So we're posting more on social now. We're sending out email campaigns. We've got the website. We relaunched our new website in January, so it's shiny and new. So we have been putting a lot of effort into that, and it's been a lot of fun.
So how much has AI become an important part of your business?
So AI for us personally, it's been great for admin and behind the scenes systems. So to make us really efficient in our timing, that's been where we're using it the most. I will say that for design, it's really not up to par, which is good. It's good for some things. Like I do have some clients that, I'm not kidding whenever I say they have not sent me one picture or an update in 3 years. And so how much can I do with that? With nothing, Right. So in that area, it's helpful because we can still make stunning imagery. It takes engineering for sure. It's not plugging it in and calling it a day. So we still have designers engineering these photos with AI if we need to. I do think though that brands do better if it's real photos and it's real people. So I always encourage my clients, if you have anything, even if you don't love the picture, please share it because it's going to do better every time on social media.
Real. And on social media, how important is it for people to be engaging in the content? How do you coach people on that, your clients, or how does that?
It depends. So we don't do, at this point in time, we don't do the engagement for our clients just because it does end up becoming a customer service thing.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
If they're digging for more information, that's usually the case. But I do think it's important that if you are getting some engagement on your posts and people are responding, follow up. Check your DMs. It's not going to take up a lot of your time if you just respond, even if you just put a heart.
Right.
You like somebody's post. But starting these genuine conversations is what you want to keep nurturing as you go on social media, and it does help. But I'd say even if what we do with social media is, if you were to work with us, we post on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And sometimes people will say, well, I'm not really an Instagram type brand. We're like, I agree. But the benefits of being on all three platforms is that it taps Google on the shoulder. It says, hey, these three platforms that have been around forever and that you trust, Google? And Google's like, yes. Well, we're on all three of them. This brand is talking about this subject matter. This person is typing in an inquiry about it. This is probably relevant content for you. And so basically it enables you more of an opportunity to have better rankings. Now, does it happen overnight? No. But over time, it's a long game strategy, and you'll see it start to build up and make an impact. So that's important. But back to email, that's huge because you can reach out to people, and you're dealing with an algorithm on social media. It's hit or miss if they're going to be, you're not going to see every post of every person that you follow.
Correct.
It's kind of hit or miss there. So you're dealing with the algorithm in that. But if somebody personally subscribes to your email list,
yeah, you're right. There's your
you're landing in
personal
their
engagement
inbox, and they said yes to sign up for that.
Very interesting.
So it's important.
A lot of good options here today.
So if Blaire Brown was a brand, what would your tagline be?
Oh, man.
We're putting you on the spot here.
Oh, gosh. I mean, our visionary advantages, ours is make your brand a destination. And I mean, I'd say it's not too far. I mean, I personally love to help bring brands to life on a personal level. I really do think that it's important to make it yours and make it feel good to you. So for me, I love to make brands shine.
Definitely.
And, just cheering you on.
That's
how
really
can I
well said.
champion entrepreneurs? Thank you.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, Blaire, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
On the
This is
iDesign
great.
Lab podcast. I know we're happy you're landed in South Florida.
Thank you.
And where can the listeners find you? Email, social media.
Sure. I mean, I'm
Website.
everywhere. Yeah, I'm everywhere. You can
You
find
have
me
the same
online.
name for everything?
Yep. You can accept on Instagram. So you can find me if you just look up visionaryadvantages.com, you will find my website, which has everything linked on there. But if you're on Instagram, give me a shout. I'm at Hey It's Blaire Brown.
So cute.
And you'll find me there. So, but yeah, like I said, we practice what we preach. So we're on LinkedIn and everywhere else too. But those are probably the top two.
Thanks for coming and being with us today.
Wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching and listening to the iDesign Lab podcast. Have a great day.
iDesign Labs podcast is an SW Group production in association with the 5-Star and TW Interiors. To learn more about iDesign Lab or TW Interiors, please visit twinteriors.com.